Domestic violence is something that is seen as being taboo. You dare not speak about it. You dare not, share your experience. But I just want to encourage someone today that you don't have to live in silence anymore. You don't have to succumb to your situations anymore because there is a way out. God did it for me, He can do it for you. You don't have to live in a situation where you think you're hopeless, where you think there is no way out, where there is no hope. There is a way out. There is hope. If God can do it, He has done it for me. And I just want to encourage someone. I don't want you to only survive it. I want you to be able to overcome it. Because when you survive, it's just moving from one situation to the next. But when you overcome it mentally. You're able to stand on your own. You're able to pursue what you want to pursue. And I just want to encourage that woman or even that man right now that God is able to do the impossible, and He's able to heal the wounds, the scars of your heart. Just trust Him today. It has to end.
Turn down the lights, turn down the bed, turn down these voices.
Merry Christmas to everyone. I just found a need to speak on this issue. It's an issue that is long awaited, and it has come even more to the forefront of my mind that things need to be said, and I need to share my story as it concerns DV. DV, it sounds like a disease, doesn't it? But it's actually domestic violence. I have been seeing where men are killing women because, for whatever reason, I do not know, but a lot of women's lives are being taken. Women are undergoing this issue, and you find that a lot of them are afraid to talk. And I want to share my story to encourage someone who's going through, who's about to enter into, or who has gotten out of domestic violence. And there's a lot of persons out there who the first question across their mind is, what did you do to cause this on yourself? And not until that person is in my shoe or another victim's shoe, you'll never understand what it is. That majority of the time, you don't need to do anything to cause anything to happen to you, depending on the person that you're with. And I want to take you back to to my earlier years, why I believe for myself why I ended up in a situation like this. Growing up, father wasn't there, and even when he was, you found that it was more fighting, more of everything else apart from love in the home. My mother had to take on the entire responsibility of being mother and father. And I want you guys to understand the importance of having a mother and father in the home. The mother contributes certain attributes to the child, and the father does the same. What the mother had, the mother's position, the father cannot play that role, and the father cannot play the mother's role. So when you have a little girl growing up, it is a father's responsibility to teach that girl how to love, because he is supposed to be her first love. That never happened. And growing up, I always had this missing thing in my life. I needed love. Didn't know what it was, couldn't put a finger on it, but I know that something was missing. And it caused me to get into relationships, seeking after these things, meaningless relationships, having this low self-esteem, wanting to be, hugged, or feel like I'm a part of something and someone. And that journey led me to where I was in 2015. Even before that, I was married when I was much younger, and that marriage lasted for 8 years. And before I can remember distinctly when I was at the altar, and the pastor said, do you take? And I was like, God, this is not really what I wanted to do. I kind of knew that it wasn't for me, but I was already there, and I wanted that. I wanted that there was just something that I was searching for, I needed, and I was looking for that in men, in people, that affirmation, that whatever it took for me to feel good about myself. I grew up in the church. I never understood anything about God really. Growing up in the church doesn't mean that you know God. There wasn't anybody to teach me who God was, but God kept me for a time such as this. And for a time such as this, I just want to encourage someone that you are an overcomer. You are not a survivor of domestic violence. You are an overcomer. You just have to decide that this is what and this is who I'm going to be. When I met my husband, I was in a position, I was lonely, I was desperate. I wasn't used to being single, and I wanted someone I wanted someone to come home to. I wanted someone to love on, someone who would love me. And it took me some time, because even before that, all my journey talking to different people, I still never understood love until one day God, I started to talk to God, and I said, God, this is where I'm at. Then God started to teach me what love was through His Word. And it so happened that I met this man. Now that I'm understanding what love is, I met this person.
Did you meet him here in America?
I met him here in America. And I wanted to show him what God has taught me. And he came across as being wonderful, awesome. I think in my head what I had wanted him to be. He did the right things. I never had to ask for anything. He was on par, he was on cue, he did everything.
Do you think it's it's based from cultural differences, or is it just like general?
What exactly?
Like men overall. Do you think it's there are cultural differences, or
there are cultural differences?
Do you think do you think that was a factor as well?
That is a factor. It is a main major factor. How one is cultured has to do a lot. Will have to do. I'm not sure if I have that right. Will has to do with a lot as it concerns their outcome, their upbringing. What was the mother like? What was the father like? Was the mother alcoholic? Was the father alcoholic? Was the father an abuser? And I found that when talking to this person, I found that he had a lot of that in his past. And I want to tell you, ladies, understand this. You need to know who you are before you venture into trying to know someone else. You need to ask the relevant questions in a relationship. Do not play a fool and say, oh, I know everything about this person. No, you do not. Ask the relevant questions to know who this person is in order for you to move on. And the most important thing is wait on God. The wait is important. During the course of the wait is when God builds you for who He has arranged for you to be with. God is the master at arranged marriages. And anything that He arranges, it stays. It's put, it's sealed and signed. Oftentimes I hear Christians quote the scripture, when people get divorced, what God put together, let no man set asunder. But we need to understand this. The key words are what God puts together, let no man set asunder. What we need to understand is anything that God arranged, nobody can touch it. What men arrange will fall to pieces. And I think in my situations, my relationships were based on my arrangement, my perception of what it is that I wanted, my imagination. I wasn't taught by God that this is what I needed to do. God never gave me the directive, oh, this is your person. No, I chose because of my circumstances, because of not wanting to be alone, because of being desperate. And so I got an orangutan. So back to the relationship. We met in 2014. Everything was okay for the first part and all of that. But I've often learned, always look for signs. And I saw signs, but I ignored them because I say, you know what? I believe that I can do more. I can help him to become a better person. I can, if I do this, it will become. And because I saw my mother go through domestic violence, I couldn't understand why is it that she sat in it for so many years. I couldn't it's a question that I've asked myself. But venturing into my own situation, I realized that sometimes there's just no answer. Sometimes some things have been cut into you, engraved into you spiritually, and you don't even know until you know who God is for him to bring it out to light. And when we met, everything was alright. Took me to the best restaurants, did all the nice things, everything was okay. But one day when we in 2014, we went, I think it was coming up to New Year's, and we went shopping for, you know, for food and stuff like that. And his sister he had wanted a bag from his sister. And in asking her for the bag, you know, he was a bit aggressive. So I said, you know, why you don't need to talk to your sister like that? And he started calling her some names. And I started crying because I realized what I've gotten myself into. And I said to him, if you deal with your sister like this, it's a great possibility that you're going to do the same to me. So said, so done. I was plain, I was clear about everything. I told him who I was. I didn't hide anything. I put everything at the forefront. And then I realized that after a while, you know, in a relationship, you're getting to know each other. So everything was quick. But even in the quickness of things, you're still getting to know each other after after the wedding, after everything. And I realized that he started to become aggressive and disrespectful. But I used the words he started, but this was who he was. This was who he was. He knew what I needed for him to pull me in. And I remember he said to me, you're so different from the rest of women that I have dated. And I wondered to myself, what type of woman have you dated in your past? And that was another warning sign. If a man can say to you that you are so different, you need to find out what is the difference. What difference do you hold in you? Why he's saying, what is he seeing in you? And you know, he started to tell me, you're so ambitious, you're such a go-getter, you're so driven. And although he was attracted to that, he wasn't attracted. I found out later that who the driven and the ambitious person that I am was too much for him. He could not deal with who I was as a woman, being strong, being independent. Not deal with who I was, being an independent woman, being a go-getter, being driven. He was always used to the yes woman because he knew what he needed to do to get them to do what he needed to do. And I was not like that. I was a Christian, even though I was a bit wayward, I was still a Christian and I still profess that. And I found out he, in the beginning of the relationship, and let me tell you something, ladies, Christian women, do not go out there looking for a man thinking you can bring him to God. It is God's job to bring the man to you. Do not do that, because when you go outside of your faith to look for someone who does not believe in God,